It is September 7th, 2024, and you are listening to Sports Chowder. Today I'm previewing the Patriots opener versus Cincinnati, taking a look at Boston College's big Labor Day win versus Florida State, looking at the Red Sox fleeting playoff hopes, and more. The Pats face the Bengals in Cincinnati to open regular season play tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. I intend to be watching this game on a hotel rooftop in Boston, eating a chicken parmesan sandwich from the Italian North End with my family. So no matter the outcome, I will at least be in the ideal setting for watching a game. Now, as I said last week, I think the Patriots could possibly pull off an upset. Perhaps I'm crazy, but I have a few reasons to believe this. Now, first and foremost, Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow is coming off an injury, so he may indeed have a slow start this season. Also, none of their free agent signings were real game changers, so this Bengals team will not be a massive upgrade from last year. Third, the Bengals have had slow starts the past two seasons. They started 2022 2-3, and they started last year 5-4 before Burrow's injury. Now, fourth, both wide receiver Jamar Chase and wide receiver T. Higgins could be out Sunday. Jamar Chase is holding out for a new contract, and he will decide game day if he will play. T. Higgins is dealing with a hamstring injury. If Cincinnati is lacking their top two wide receivers, they will of course be very vulnerable. I certainly have confidence that our defense can hold the line, especially if those receivers are both out. But really, Jacoby and the offense need to step it up a bit. I'm not expecting some kind of fireworks show, but they need to keep things moving. I'm giving our offense the benefit of the doubt. Preseason play is different. I know they will have to dig deeper into the playbook for a real game. Now, unfortunately, some Patriots fans on social media have given in to cynicism. I refuse to. I know these players and their coaches have a lot to prove. Until I've seen otherwise, I can only assume they're putting in the work to truly prove themselves to the fans and to the league. Really, I don't get the point of being a fan if you don't believe in your team. We have a new coach. We have some new players. Let them prove they can win before you dismiss them. Patriots fans have had a lot to celebrate over the course of 20 years. Now it's our time to rebuild and move this program into a new era. Okay, it'll take time, but it'll become way more painful when we decide to judge every little move by the coaches and players. Let them see what works and what doesn't, and let's not Monday morning quarterback our team. Now, before I move on from the Patriots, I have one minor story I want to touch on. On Tuesday, they brought in former Titans cornerback Caleb Farley for a workout. Caleb was taken 22nd overall in the 2021 NFL Draft by the Titans after two impressive seasons at Virginia Tech. Now, the downside is that injuries have hampered Farley's NFL career. He has only played 12 total games over his 3 seasons with the Titans. Farley tore his ASL during his rookie year, appearing in only 3 games that season, and then because of his recovery, he only appeared in 9 games his sophomore season. Subsequently, Caleb suffered from back issues, which caused him to miss the entire 2023 season. Now, Caleb Farley obviously is not a hot commodity. However, with the Patriots, he is a low-risk, high-reward option. I mean, we currently have a pretty solid cornerback core. However, adding someone on a cheap deal like Caleb could turn out to be a good thing. You know, injuries happen, people might leave in the future. To have other options would be wise. I hope this works out. I really enjoy when a low-risk, high-reward deal comes to fruition for one of my teams. Moving on to Boston College. To say college football in New England is not a big deal is quite the understatement. Now, of the few Division I FBS programs in the New England states, I would say Boston College is the most prominent. Now, side note, if the University of Connecticut gives up being independent for only football, they could build a decent program. Pretending they can get away with being independent like Notre Dame is quite foolhardy, in my opinion. Now, back to Boston College. They've had legitimate success in the past. In the 80s, they produced Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Doug Flutie, with whom they defeated the Houston Cougars in the 1985 Cotton Bowl. That year, they were ranked number 5 in the AP poll. They had more success in the late 90s and throughout the 2000s. They were consistently ranked, they were co-champions of the old Big East Conference in 2004, and for weeks 8 and 9 of the 2007 season, they were ranked number 2 in the AP poll. During this time, they produced quarterbacks Matt Hasselbeck and Matt Ryan. Now, in the 2010s, they became consistently middle of the road, with a couple of truly awful seasons. Now, this year, after their previous coach left to become a defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, Boston College hired Boston native Bill O'Brien to become the new head coach. Bill O'Brien has had decent success at different levels of football. The highlights are that he coached for the Patriots offense in varying roles from 2007 until 2011, and then he became a head coach at Penn State after that horrible Sandusky scandal. In that role, O'Brien went 15-9, and I would say he saved that program from a steep, permanent decline. From 2014 until 2020, he served as Houston Texans head coach, going 52-48. Now, I know that does not sound great, but they were division champions 4 of those seasons. Now, last season, he had the unenviable role of Patriots offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. For a variety of reasons, I don't really blame him for what happened last year. The Patriots were having so many problems last season, I would not expect O'Brien to fix it all. On Labor Day, O'Brien had his first game as Boston College head coach. The Eagles defeated the number 10 ranked conference opponent, Florida State Seminoles, 28-13 in Tallahassee. Now, the Seminoles had lost to Georgia Tech 24-21 in the annual Week 0 game played in Dublin, Ireland. So it was a must-win for the reigning ACC champions, Florida State. Despite that, Boston College remained confident and in control for just about the entire game. I really believe Bill O'Brien could do some really great things with the Eagles. They could possibly make the college football playoffs with the new 12-team format. Now, I'm not saying Bill O'Brien will be the new Nick Saban, but I believe he can bring Boston College to new heights. I definitely think they are a team to watch. And now a Red Sox update. This week they lost a series to Detroit 2-1 and lost a series to the Mets 2-1. We have a series against the abysmal Chicago White Sox at Fenway Park this weekend. So really not a great week for the Red Sox, and as I am recording this right now, we have an 8% chance of making the playoffs. As Alex Cora said at a recent press conference, we are running out of time. Now, did I expect this team to make a deep postseason run? No. I've said that over and over. However, I was expecting a very poor season, and this season has not been terrible. It's been very middle of the road. As I am recording this, we are 70-70. Perfectly mediocre. You know, I enjoyed watching some games. I really got back into the Red Sox this season, but I don't want to be in purgatory forever. You know what I mean? I hope we spend a little bit of money, upgrade our pitching, some other positions, pair those upgrades with our existing talent and our upcoming minor league prospects. I believe we can be contenders again pretty soon. Besides my own desire for as many Boston championships as possible, I really want Alex Cora to have at least one more World Series win with the Red Sox. You know, I think he could be a legend if he gets one more title. He was a player during our 2007 championship. Obviously, he was our manager during our 2018 championship. And to get one more ring would really secure his legacy. You know, 2018 we had an insane amount of talent. If we can do it again with different players, his legacy will be all the richer. The sun may indeed be setting on this season, but the Red Sox are my ride and die baseball team. I don't care if we're in last place or first place. They're my team, and no one can replace them. Now, all that being said, we are not technically eliminated from the playoffs. I mean, if we sweep the White Sox, which is very possible, we might be able to build the momentum we need to clinch a postseason berth. What might help is that our shortstop, Trevor Story, who suffered a shoulder injury in April, may return before the season is over. Story is currently playing for Worcester on rehab assignment, and if he continues to make progress, he could return to the Red Sox in the next couple of weeks. Of course, I'm rooting for this. Being injured as early as April is always a really sad thing for a player, so if he can come back and maybe help us finish our season better than people expect, I would be very happy. And now for an all-new segment, the Boston Free Game of the Week. A game that I'm looking forward to that has nothing to do with Boston. Today at 11 a.m., the Arkansas Razorbacks take on the number 17 ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys in Stillwater. You may wonder, why this game? While I did live in Fayetteville for 5 years, I have a reason for choosing this game besides liking the Razorbacks. Now, last season, Arkansas went 4-8, losing all 8 SEC games. It was a very difficult season, and to be honest, I really tuned out after a certain point. Now, that record would lead some teams to fire their head coach, but in my opinion, they made the right choice and kept head coach Sam Pittman. Pittman had the unenviable position of taking over after Chad Morris went 2-10 during both his seasons as head coach. Now, a little background on Sam Pittman. He led Arkansas to a 3-7 record during the 2020 COVID season, which featured only SEC opponents. It's a very daunting task for anyone, especially a first-year head coach. Now, the biggest win of that year was when they upset number 16 ranked Mississippi State. In 2021, the Razorbacks went 8-4 in the regular season, including going 4-4 in SEC play. They won the Outback Bowl versus Penn State in the postseason. In 2022, they went 6-6, 3-5 in SEC play. They won the Liberty Bowl in triple overtime versus the Kansas Jayhawks. Now, after last year's disappointing record, the Razorbacks brought on former head coach Bobby Petrino as offensive coordinator. Petrino was head coach of the Arkansas Razorback football program from 2008 until 2011. He went 34-17 overall. During his final season as head coach, the Razorbacks went 10-2, winning the Cotton Bowl and finishing the season ranked number 5 in the AP poll. That was only his 4th season as Arkansas's head coach. And if you have no knowledge of Arkansas football, you may be wondering why he left after a short tenure like that. Well, there was a scandal, and he lied about it multiple times, and the university made the choice to fire him. Now, I was not living in Arkansas at the time. I was not following Razorback football or SEC football, but from what I understand, it was probably the right move to fire him at that point. Now, after leaving Arkansas, Petrino had mixed success at smaller schools. In his personal life, he is still married. He seems to have a positive family life, despite what went on with that scandal. And with Arkansas's choice to hire him as offensive coordinator, this could be his redemption story with the Razorbacks. And I honestly hope it works out. Now, Oklahoma State will be the first real test of this revamped Arkansas football program. Week 1, the Razorbacks played what amounted to essentially a preseason game. Their opponent was Arkansas Pine Bluff, a school which plays in a different subdivision than every major college football program. So really, it was not a good glimpse at what this new offense will look like. As for Oklahoma State, they played South Dakota State Week 1, winning 44-20. If Arkansas can win, or at least compete with Oklahoma State, it will be their first real chance to prove they're back on the right track. I really want them to win. I really like Sam Pittman. When I moved to Arkansas, the Razorbacks head coach was Brett Bielema, and then he was fired after the 2017 season and replaced by Chad Morris. Neither of those guys were really cut out to succeed in the SEC. In my opinion, Pittman is more dependable than Bielema and has the necessary experience that Chad Morris lacked. I think Pittman can do really special things with the Razorbacks. I hope this season is better than last year so that Pittman can remain the leader of this program for years to come. And now, Assorted Awesome, the part of the show where I talk about something that is 100% awesome with no caveats. So Tom Brady, who you may know as the greatest quarterback of all time, is set to make his NFL broadcasting debut tomorrow at 4:25 p.m. Eastern. He'll be working for the Fox network, serving as a commentator for the Cowboys-Browns game. As I mentioned earlier, I will be in Boston tomorrow, and I won't have time to watch 2 football games. However, I am DVRing the Cowboys-Browns game. There is no way I would miss the chance to watch Tom's broadcasting debut. Now, first of all, I just love seeing retired players joining broadcasting teams. In my view, it keeps the party going as much as possible. Now, as for Tom specifically, I believe he will do very well in this role. For one thing, he has a very high football IQ. Watch any interview or documentary where he talks the nuts and bolts of winning football games, and that will become readily apparent. Tom has also been preparing like crazy. He has spent a lot of time on the Fox lot in LA with the rest of the broadcasting team, building chemistry and studying the art of broadcasting football. There's even a rumor that he called a full season's worth of practice games just to be ready. Just like when he was a quarterback, Tom is intensely prepared. Because of that, I believe he will be very successful in this role. Needless to say, I am very excited and very thankful that he will still be involved in football in a front-facing role for the foreseeable future. That is all I have for this episode of Sports Chowder. You can follow me on X at SteppensTweets. You can follow the show at sports_chowder, follow the show on Instagram at SportsChowder, and like it on Facebook. Thank you so much for listening. I will return next week with another heaping portion of Sports Chowder, the show that discusses, celebrates, and/or laments the state of Boston sports.